Well, this is a good start to the weekend. Fuck. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Hard to believe that's kind of what we just watched. Wait for a few more people to tune in. I've put the link in the comments, guys. So fan cams is going to be happening tonight. Hop on. We've got a special guest coming up. But if you want to hop on and have a chat and just vent and get everything off your chest, please do hit that link, join, and we can have a chat face to face, and hopefully we can get over what was probably one of the worst losses in recent memory, given the circumstances, given the players that we had back in the team. And the team that we played was under fire. So without further ado, let's bring on a special guest. You all know him. He's out and about. Mate.
Hey.
Marshy.
Oh, you did, mate. Can you hear us all right?
Yeah, you're crystal clear, mate. Your disappointment is crystal clear. So,
what happened? What happened?
I don't know how to explain it, mate.
Okay, no. I'll preface this with Carlton Matildas. At least one of the Ildas got it done tonight. Their game against Great Britain, sensational. Our game, but I don't know where to start. Billings needs to sink at least one. Doesn't. That was disappointing. What did you reckon?
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm lost for words.
I am too.
You know what the biggest thing for me was? And I was just talking to the girlfriend then. It was a good thing and it was also a bad thing. The fact that Connolly, Burns and Sharman all showed way more than players that have been there for 10 years and players that have had 100 games experience. They're doing it in their first 20 games in their career. Sharman comes on, kicks two. Connolly dodges players left, right and centre. Burns is very good with the ball, doesn't stop running.
What about kick two?
Yeah, he kicked two. He kicked one, his second kick or third kick of the game.
Yeah.
And he kicked one right at the end in front. Free kick, I think.
That squeezed me. I went to the men's after that because I'd seen enough. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. But I don't know. Unfortunately, in the same breath, all those three fellas had a chance to kick us a goal when it mattered. They didn't. They went alone. Billings misses a couple, and even like snags, giving it to Billings. Surely you have a shot from there.
But they had no ruckman, mate. They had Silvani in the ruck. Paddy was a laid out.
Silvani in the ruck. Was he in the ruck?
He was in the ruck for most of the second half, mate.
Oh God. Yeah, it's not ideal. And to be honest, Jakey, Godfather, people who are watching this, I kind of feel relieved. I feel like I've been this season has been put to sleep tonight. Let's be honest. We had expectations. We had a lot of things to play for. And we've had that all year, and we haven't delivered, unfortunately. But at least, I don't know. Like footy, it's a pre-season. 22. Yeah, 2022. That's a bit of a mouthful. Our pre-season starts now, I reckon.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
We were so happy with the ins that we got, mate. And then Dukes does his hammy. Paddy's are laid out.
Dukes.
Brad Hill's on the bench. Hunter Clark goes into the rooms and might have broken his jaw again. It's just 2021 is fucked, isn't it? It's
It
just
stinks. It stinks.
it's good for one day and then it's bad for 6 months.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm not in. I wasn't in. I'm not in the shape, and I didn't want to talk about. I didn't want to jump on and do this right now because
Yeah.
that was deflating. That we didn't look switched on from the get go. You know. Oh, the king did. The king did, and then that sort of stopped for a while. But oh, no urgency, and I don't know. To me, the start of the last quarter said a lot about our midfield. There, it was start. You know, we need to get jiggy with it. We needed what 8, 9 goals in the last quarter, and we start off with
Yeah.
Steele, Jonesy. Jonesy played well. I like Jonesy's game. And, Higgins and who was the other one in there? There's someone else in there, but I don't know. It wasn't a full complement of midfield. And you throw in Higgins. I know they wanted to get sexy with it, mix things up, but it didn't work. It just didn't work.
Nah. It's just it reminded me of Richo from a couple of years ago, just putting Carlisle forward and just mixing it up in the matchups and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. I can't believe
Membry,
that's what they dished up. I can't believe it.
nah. Membry was a good boy tonight.
Yeah, I've got his jumper on, so he stood
Oh,
tall. He did his best, but and then
give us a
King's
little
first,
close.
hey, the little close up of the skunky.
Yeah, close up skin
Yeah,
shimmy of the
it's pretty
skunk.
good.
That's good.
These are
Yeah,
the
that's
hoodies.
nice.
They'll be out soon, but
Oh,
uh, yeah, far out, mate. I'll let you go. You've had a big one. Where'd
yeah.
you go tonight? Where'd you watch the footy?
Can I do? Oh, I can't really reverse. Oh, no, I can't reverse it. I'm not that clever.
Ah,
We're
okay.
at the Newmarket Hotel, St Kilda, where it's
Yeah,
meant to be. And I'm turning this a little bit because it's a bit deflating to be a Sainer at the moment. Give us something to feel good about, Jakey boy. What did you like
something to
about
feel good
tonight?
about.
Yeah,
Oh, mate. Oh, King his first quarter on Wiedering. You can't look past when he gets space and when he gets a chance to run at that ball, mate. It's almost zero chance that the opposition can do anything to stop him. It's
yeah.
that was
This,
the best part of our game was the ball movement in the first quarter where we just kicked it into space. He had a chance to run at it, and we kicked goals from that. After
yeah,
that, we were bombing. We were slow. We didn't. When you move it fast, you have space in the forward line. And the other good thing to look forward to is Connolly, Burns, and Sharman showed something. He's got a nice
yeah,
kick on him. People think he's my
yeah.
doppelganger. People think he's my doppelganger.
Oh, is that
but
why you've got the? Is that why you've got the hots for him, Godfather?
yeah, he reminds me of me,
Uh,
mate. That's it. I live vicariously through him. So anyway,
can we,
the youngsters are the highlights for me at the moment.
fair cop, fair cop. But just quickly, like Billings, those two shots, like
Yeah,
he doesn't. He doesn't miss them. He shouldn't miss them.
nah.
Anyways,
He doesn't believe in himself, mate, and I reckon that's the same as most of the team, apart from Steele, Marshall, and maybe one or two others that I've missed. But the rest of the team are expecting the worst all the time. You
yeah,
know what I mean? They expect the worst. So it's a mentality thing. We need to fix it. Whether we can do that in an off season, who knows? But I agree.
boys,
Off season starts now, mate.
boys, spicy call, but surely Clarko, um, next year less stress, but a challenge. Surely comes in as Rats' senior assistant coach.
Wait, did you say Clarko?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Joycey wants us to offer him about 2 mil a year. I mean,
give him
we've got
everything.
we've got money to throw around, don't we? Might as well
Oh, we do.
just give it to Clarko.
Everyone watching, and you got a fair few people getting around saying, Steve, if we all chipped in a bit of cash, let's crowd fund and get Clarko on board, yeah?
If
He
everyone
owes
just donates
Rats.
five bucks each, we've got his contract covered. No worries.
Easy peasy. He owes Rats. Rats got him 3 flags, so I reckon it's time to repay the favour.
Yeah. Well, here I'll end it on this. I'll ask you a question before we move on.
Yep.
Who would
Yeah,
you
right.
rather, Clarko as an assistant coach or Ben King with Max King in the forward line?
Ken King, please.
Yeah, you're it.
Yeah,
All
get him
right, mate.
down.
I'll let you go. Thanks for joining
Yeah,
for
no
fan
worries,
cams
mate.
and enjoy the rest of your night. Somehow.
Yeah, up the Soners. Up the Soners.
See you, mate. Go Saints. All right. Well, that's just a little intro to fan cams, guys. I've put the link in the comments. So if anyone else wants to join again, please hit the link. I know that a lot of people are wanting to vent their emotions, and we're going to do that. So we'll go through a couple now, and then we'll re-put the link into the comments. And if anyone wants to join to have a chat, you're welcome to. First up, we've got Heath, mate.
How are you, Drake?
Mate, I think you can guess how I am. That
Yeah,
was I don't even know what that was.
it was pretty bad. Oh my God.
Tell me how you feel. Like, give me your full emotion right now. What goes through your mind when you see Carlton 50 points up?
I was gonna we made him look good.
We did, mate. We did. It was just a lack of effort. The amount of broken tackles.
I had to
Yeah.
have a few beverages to get me through the night, as I know I was gonna cope.
Do you lean towards the beer or the wine? What's your
I'm a,
poison?
I'm a Canadian club man.
Hey, no, I am too. I am too. I stuck with the
Mm.
red wine tonight, but I was tempted to move on to the Canadian club and then back to the red wine. But what was the one thing to you that was the main issue in the game? Was it the pressure? Was it I thought our kicking was shit. What do you think?
Oh, I was gonna say bit of everything, I suppose. Just all
Yeah,
around the ground. Who, who was tagging Walsh? Was there anyone that tried to tag him?
we let him just do what he fucking wanted. We let him kick 3 goals. We let him get clearance after clearance. We did that with the whole team, didn't we? With Carlton, we let them just run rings around us.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And like you said, the youngsters were really good.
Yeah, Connolly, Sharman,
Mm,
Burns,
yep.
um, the back line. Do you think we need a key back in the off season? Do you think Wilkie and Dukes is just too short? Do you think the tall forward lines just keep killing us?
Yeah, I agree. A tall backman would be nice, but who would you go for if you were a scouter at the club?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of anyone that's out of contract or anyone that wants to move on. I know. I
Mm,
think it was maybe Cleary from Port Adelaide that could be a chance.
mm.
Um, that's our season done now, isn't it? For you? Is that
Yeah,
what
it
you
is.
believe? Yeah.
Well, I said against West Coast that we can make it, but after that, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, give me a final word on the game, mate. Before we move on, give me a final word.
Embarrassing.
Just straight to the point. I love it. It's a man
Yeah,
of few words, but when you say it, they just sting. I love it, mate. Well, thanks for
yeah,
joining.
no problem.
I don't know. Are you gonna have a good weekend after this, or are you gonna be able to move on quickly?
I'll try to move on if I can, but no, this
Yeah.
one will hurt.
Yeah, this is going to sting for a while, I think, for a lot of Saners. So we'll see
Mm.
what the rest of the Saners have to say. But cheers for joining, mate, and have a good
Yeah,
weekend if you can.
yeah, you too, Jake.
Cheers, mate. Chat soon. All right, boys.
Hey, Jakey, how are you, mate?
How are we?
Mate, I think you know how I'm feeling. I don't need to give that answer.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. One each or all together.
Um,
Who wants to talk?
Oh, look, I think Kent needs to be dropped ASAP. He's, shocking.
I hate talking shit about players, but
I
Dean
know.
Kent was
Yeah.
pretty. He was
He was
shit
just-
tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, I hate bagging our own team out, but look, his disposal effectiveness is just below, like, negative.
Yeah, yeah. Anything he touches, it's like his intent's right. Like, he goes to the right player,
Yeah.
but it's always to their
Yeah.
feet or it's over their bloody heads.
Yeah. Well, it's not good
Um,
when you're scared when a player's got their ball in their hands. So
that's it. I think we've got certain players in the team where if we've got the ball in, say, Jack Steele's hands, players can be proactive. They can run off because they know Steele's going to hit the target. No problem. I can run ahead of my man.
Yeah, they can back
But
him in.
if Dean Kent's got it, or just a certain player, I'm not going to pinpoint just him. He's not the reason we lost. But if someone like that's got the ball and you run ahead of the ball and you turn it over, we're cooked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
it all cuts in the middle of the ground, doesn't it? Like, Marshall had 45 hit-outs. I mean,
what was the hit-out difference?
Yeah, and, DeConey goes down, so they got Silvani in the ruck, and we still, I don't know what the clearance stats were, but we had that many hit-outs, and the fact that we couldn't get anything going forward, and they seemed to run it back the other way after we got clear to it, is just ridiculous.
What the fuck do we do from here? What is neat? Was the last 5? Because I thought our last 5 week was actually it was pretty decent. Like in terms of form, we won 3 in a row. We should have beaten Port, but we dropped it under 2 goals. Yeah. And then last week we fought it out. We lost, but we didn't get blown out of the park.
It's almost been a staggering of it's just gotten worse. And we were at the stage where we were looking good, and then we just had that loss. And then the West Coast game, and then this game now. It's just getting worse. But
that Crows game will always just haunt us. From the moment we lost that, it's just going to haunt us, getting us in finals, keeping us that one game away from it. And our run home against Geelong and Sydney are going to be tough games. Oh, it's just
Sydney.
Yeah.
Well, Sydney doesn't look like
that's us, isn't it? Now. Though we might.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's the shit thing. That's the shit thing is. We might just beat Sydney and Geelong in the next 2 weeks and then lose to Freo when we could make finals, we beat the good, we do all right against the good teams, and then we struggle against the Adelaides, the Carltons. We lost to Essendon earlier in the year when we thought we'll beat them easy. Yeah.
But on a positive note, how good is it saying Maxi kicked the ball? I've said before, he's not just nursing him through, he's really split in the middle.
And that even Cooper Sharman's first goal, like the way he took that, he kicked that post high, didn't he? Like he's thumped that.
Yeah, he could be an option in for Kent, maybe keep him in the side. He looked pretty lively up there. Go a bit of run.
Yeah, and no one's mentioned him yet. No one's mentioned Paul Hunter, but
he's been he played a pretty decent game, like against West Coast when he had a tougher ruckman opponent. He was a bit confused on what to do and started just grabbing at the ruckman and giving away some easy free kicks. But because he's the backup ruckman, he's not really in there to win, be there consistently and win. So as a backup ruckman, it's kind of hard to play against good ruckman.
Yeah. Well, you boys gonna have a good weekend, or do you sit on losses like this for a while?
Nah, look, we were saying before, we had last week lost to West Coast, and we sit there, the first half of the week, so gloom and doom and everything like that, and then you think, you know what, next week we're a bit of a chance this week, so heads up a bit, and then all of a sudden this happens, and now it's another week till next Sunday of all bloody days.
Yeah, and the worst thing is, at least every week up until now, we've had even with our form, there's a goal of finals. There's always that little carrot, and you're oh, we're shit, but mathematically we can still make finals. That's cool, nice. And now you're like, okay, Carlton are on top of us on the ladder, and they pretty much are going to sack their coach.
Exactly.
Do we go for Clarkson? I don't know. I think that's a bit drastic, but something's got to change.
That's a bit drastic.
It just depends on what Clarky wants to do, really. If he's happy to step into sort of a senior assistant role or director of football role, that could be awesome. He's obviously had that experience of.
I wouldn't be getting rid of Rats just yet, at all.
Nah. What if we lose the next 3? What happens then? Same, just back him in.
We just have to really reflect.
Realistically,
all we can do
on the injury, we haven't been lucky with injuries at all. So it hasn't been an easy year.
With Gresh out in the middle, it really just he's got a bit of drive about him, a bit of grunt hardball get, but without him, it just leaves a tiny bit of gap of just just a bit of speed in there.
Yeah. Well,
I think just the injuries, being at where we are at in our development at the moment, just making finals last year couldn't come at a worse time because obviously last year we had the full team and we're starting to hit our straps, and then you add in these injuries and something you've got to use your depth players who haven't had that experience of playing well.
Yeah, I'm
again.
I said it. I think I might have said it last week or a couple of days. I can't remember, but I said the one player that outside of the rucks that we can't afford to lose is Dougal Howard,
Yeah.
and he's just done. It's a hamstring, isn't it? That's what
Yeah,
they've said.
I didn't actually see what happened, so I just thought that was a string, but I
looked
don't
like
know if it's a
tweaked
bad
it.
one or hopefully it's just a little tweak, not something serious. But yeah, because you
'Cause
can
if
see
he's-
Wilkie was outsized, didn't have a size to go with Mackay.
Nah. We need a tall back because I'm worried if Dukes doesn't get up next week, we're playing Sydney.
Buddy,
Who goes
Yeah.
to Buddy? Who the hell plays on Buddy Franklin? He's going to kick
They'll bring in
100.
Frawley.
He'll kick his
I'll
1,000 against us.
They'll bring in Frawley
I'll
and he'll get.
Put Higgins on. Put Higgins on, buddy.
Higgins, mate. We might as well. I think we've tried all kinds of matchups this year with our injuries, so why not just try that, eh? Anyway,
Or Clav maybe, but
yeah, bring Clav in, give him some more
big
experience.
task for a young fella, but yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you boys jumping on and having a chat and talking Saints footy. Try and enjoy your weekends, and maybe we'll chat next week after a win. Who knows?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, see ya.
Look forward to it. Go Saints,
Cheers,
mate.
boys.
See ya.
Go
See ya.
Saints. See ya. All right.
Good day, Joe. Don't think I really need to ask how you are.
Nah, everyone's asking me, mate, how I'm going. So it's all about you guys. You tell me how you're feeling. How are you feeling, mate?
Just flattened. I don't really know too much to say. Just I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Like first quarter, you're thinking, oh, Maxi's looking pretty good.
Yeah,
He's going to just kick a bag and we'll get the job done. And then from the second quarter, it was just all one-way traffic Carlton, wasn't it?
yeah. Just it really. I thought it was really over halfway through the second quarter. Just how that they were playing. Just the amount of missed kicks, missed handballs, and fumbles and all that was shocking.
Yeah. Was that... Do you think it was were we turned off, or do you think we just didn't expect Carlton to be, Carlton to be so ferocious?
Yeah, I reckon it was probably a bit of both. Because I guess I reckon they would have gone into the game just thinking it would have happened as well. Just definitely given especially given the result of what happened with Carlton last week, and yeah.
Yeah, but at least North killed them with fast ball use. They went through the bloody middle. They were clinical.
Yeah.
Larky kicked 7. They played the best game they played all year. We've had worse losses in terms of margin, but I feel like the way the importance of the game and what we delivered was as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you vocal when you watch the game? Because I feel like you're a reserved sort of supporter. Do you get bloody angry at the TV?
Yeah, I usually do, but just I was just flat and was just speechless after halftime. Just I didn't know what to say.
Yeah. Well, mate, give me just to give some Saints fans some positivity about the year or tonight. Give me your 3 positives if you can, and give me your 3 negatives.
Yeah. Well, Cooper Sharman definitely. I really like the looks of Cooper Sharman. I wasn't too sure about him because of his body, because he's not the biggest bloke there, and Max King's first quarter obviously, and guess Rose Ruck as well, and the 3 negatives. The 3 negatives. It would have been Howard going down with a hamstring. I remember you saying last week as well too on the Fed Cam. You were saying imagine Howard gets injured next week, and exactly what happened.
I need to stop talking, mate.
Yeah.
The second.
Yeah. The second one probably would have been just Carlton's clearance work. I remember at half time, I think they had they won 3 hit-outs or something like that and had 21 clearances. So,
really?
Yeah.
That's an unbelievable stat.
And then, Yeah, and the third one, I think, just really the whole game really just all fell apart.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see how we bounce back, mate, over the weekend, over the week in terms of our social media and what we're going to post and how we can get fans excited. Yeah. But anyway, mate, thanks for joining.
Yeah,
I'll let you get on with your Friday night.
Yeah.
No need to talk about what that was because that was shocking. And
Yeah.
we're just gotta move on and hopefully get a win next week.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right,
Jake.
Geordie. Well, cheers, mate. Chat soon.
Yeah. Cheers. You too.
Sainers, there's a few people still yet to chat, which we'll get you on shortly. But bloody hell, let's just go through some of these comments and we'll get a few more Sainers on to have a chat. Let's see what we got. There's a few. It's actually a lot of comments targeting Billings. Hunter, nah. Yeah. Dean, Sharman will be dropped based on Rats' recent selection. I really hope not. He provided a good target and he kicked his 2 goals. To me, that justifies his position in the team. I think we need, if we're not going to have Paddy there, we need to have Rowe in the ruck permanently, and we need to drop Paul Hunter and play Sharman to support King and be that other third tall with Membry. So I think he sticks around. Oh, man. Luke, I need thoughts. Do we trade for Josh Kelly and Ben King? Well, if anything, if you look at tonight, you really do see that lack of class, that lack of field kicking in the team. Brad Hill is there for that reason, but he didn't get enough of it. Billings tries to be too perfect all the time, turns it over doing it. Josh Kelly is a good mix of contested ball, gets the ball, uses the ball. And then obviously Ben King, you just try and get him at all costs it basically fixes everything. We don't need to rest a ruck forward. We can play one ruck and Ben can stay there and support Max. It just solves so many problems for us. He can even go back and support the back line when we're under, when the other team's on top. So I think it's an easy pick to go for someone like that, but it just depends on if we have any draft picks and the money to get these sort of players across. All right. Let's move on. We've got Lockie.
G'day.
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, I don't know. The game was just... I turned it off at halftime and I just kept looking at the scores every 5 minutes. But other than that, it was just disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, were you pretty confident going into the game?
Yeah, I said to my dad during the week, I was like to him, we're going to win this game by 50 points if we have some injury-free players. If Paddy was going to play, I reckon we probably maybe would have won. But I don't know. It's a weird feeling. I was really confident, but yeah, I'm just flat now.
Yeah, you and me both. What do we do for the rest of the season? Do we start playing some kids? Do we bring in players at Sandy that haven't had much of a go and give them a chance to prove their worth? Do we try and win every game and see if we sneak into the 8? Because it's still possible, but I don't think we deserve it after tonight. What would if you were Rats, what would you do?
I'd probably just start rotating some of our forwards into the midfield. Sometimes in the forward line you would see Higgins or Butler be in the midfield, but I would like to see Ben Long maybe have a go in the midfield, or bring in Caulfield one week and have a go. Let him have a go in the midfield. Some of those players who have that versatility, would be really good for them to have a go in there.
Yeah. Were there players tonight on our team that you're like, nah, they're not going to be at the Saints next year, or I don't want them to be at the Saints? Because I reckon there's a couple, but what do you reckon?
I felt Paul Hunter, definitely not, sadly, for him. But players just Dean Kent, as you were saying before in the with chatting with some of the other blokes, you were saying he's not able to really kick on his opposite foot, and he's just really inconsistent. But like Billings is like he's got that ability, but he just like he has a really high ceiling, but he just like his low is actually like quite bad compared to a lot of other players.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with us. A lot of our players have high ceilings when they have a good game, like Max King, Dunstan, and all that. Like they have really good involvement, but other than that, like their bad is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, fuck. Where do we go from here? I mean, do you blame this sort of form on the inconsistency with injuries, or do you think that, like I said going into this game, to many people, no excuses? We got Marshall back, we got Highmore, Higgins. I feel like I'm missing one more big one. Clark,
Did you say
obviously.
Clark? Yeah.
Yeah, Hunter Clark. So, do you think the whole year has just been thrown away because we haven't been able to get our best team on the park?
Well, I don't know if I'm like, yeah. Well, I feel like it's pretty easy. Like if you watch any sport, it's quite easy to use injuries as a scapegoat, and it's like, and also bad performances. But like, I feel like if there's a couple teams, like you see Carlton, like they don't have Mark Pitnett playing. Like they're without Matt, what's his name, Cruiser was it from last year, and then like Tom DeConing went out. Like, and the same with when we versed the Bulldogs, they didn't have Tim English, and they were able to, nullify our players by going one-on-one. It was quite easy for them to, nullify them, and their contested work was really good. And I feel like we've just got to get used to that and stop having a sook and just go, oh, we don't have Ryder, we don't have Marshall, we've only got Hunter this week. I don't feel like we're going to do as well this week. But you look at some of the players from other clubs, Gold Coast don't have Jared Witts, and some of their midfielders are doing well, like Took Miller. Like we got to just, stick it up to the haters and all that.
Mate, that's such a good point, because even pre-game tonight, I got so many DMs on Instagram when Paddy Ryder was laid out, and they're like, "Fuck, Paddy's out."
Yeah.
We're gonna. I'm like, we're playing Carlton. They don't have a ruckman, like like they don't have Nick Nat from last week, for instance.
Yeah.
And no offense to them, but we, even without Paddy, we should have gotten the job done.
Yeah.
That mentality that you talk about of like, we lose one player, oh fuck, it's game over. We can't win. We've lost Paddy. We need to move on from that. We need to just know that just to put in the effort it's gonna get the result eventually, and that's what Carlton did.
Yeah, and like I feel like we had 70 hitouts. Like that's crazy. Our average is like 38, and a lot of other clubs are in the average like low 30s. And like if that, usually a stat like that is like you're most likely going to win the game, and especially like we can actually kind of still, like Paul Hunter still had like 20 hitouts, and we can kind of rotate Rowan Marshall into the forward line a bit more. But like we can't really just revolve our game around like two players or one or two players and just expect if they're injured that like it's all over. Like we've got to have better depth, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think we're getting a bit too reliant on Maxi as well, especially after last week. And then the first quarter, we thought, oh, we'll just kick it into the forward 50. Maxi's going to mark it. He's going to kick a bag. We don't have to worry about crumbing. We don't have to worry about kicking it to Skunk or to Marshall when he's there. That's another problem that I see. It's like, yes, King's going to be a superstar. We all know that. But that doesn't mean you kick it on his head every bloody time.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you look at the stat sheet as well, like you look at it and like we're actually like we have less turnovers than them, and like but we were turning over the ball in crucial times. We had more disposals, clearances. Like we had like 50% efficiency in going inside, like 50 inside 50s to their 44. Like I feel like their kicking was just unbelievable as well. Like you got to give credit to them.
Yeah,
like if that, sorry to cut you off, but if that was Carlton from like when they played Geelong, we would have easily won that game. But them changing, it was a good deck to play on, and it was like clean footy, easy, no like spillage or anything to miss goals, and it was just really easy for them.
Yeah, they played the way that we wanted to play, or the way I thought we were going to play.
Yeah.
That nice field kicking, open up the the wings, but then cut it back inboard at that second last kick before the 50, and then you've got a good kick inside 50. But they did that. They got Mackay, and I was a bit worried that Kerno was playing because he's capable of kicking goals. He's a freak athletically.
Yeah.
But he didn't really do much apart from one goal. It was all just their Smalls and Mackay. That was it.
Yeah.
And
if you looked at the start of the first quarter, we were going really well inside 50, but I think it was Walsh kicked that goal, and I remember Cripps had a shot on goal as well, just snap around the corner, and Jack Silvani kicked one like that. They weren't having a lot of set shots, and that's how they usually play the game, and that's how they usually get their opportunities. But their stoppage work was just inside the forward 50, in my opinion, was just how they won the game.
Yeah, mate. You make some very good points. How long have you been a Saints fan?
Well, I've been my dad's been a Saints fan, and my uncle as well, and a lot of my family, except my mum and mum's side, go for the Bombers. But other than that, I've probably been following late 2019. I remember I found your page back in late 2019. I saw the Brad Hill post, I remember the Stephen Canelio post and everything when we had interest in him. And we're all hype around him. But I've only been following really 2020 onwards. I've just been just a freak about stats and all that. Watch every interview, listen to your podcast, listen to every press conference. It's not good when we lose because I don't know what to do, but it's just so interesting, the stats and all that.
Yeah, I think my interests are very similar to yours, mate. I'm mad on the stats, obviously, but a week after the day after a loss sucks, but that when you get to the Monday, Tuesday and it's midweek and you still feel that feeling, it's not great.
Yeah.
Especially when I've got to post about it as well. It's not fun.
Yeah, and then you have heaps of people just DMing you.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember during the year, I remember after I went to the Melbourne game and the Spud game and everything, and I was I went with some of my family and everything. But after that game, then we got flogged by Essendon. I just remember me just just being really down, and then beating West Coast, I was up and about. But when we were getting flogged, I was just really annoyed. But I feel over the past that Adelaide game, I've kind of learned to it's not, football isn't gonna make you always happy, and I've kind of found that out with the Saints, really inconsistent. I felt last year I got I got the really good end of the stick, and I just had a good luck with that. And now this year we've got injuries and all that, and we've all had the raw end of the stick, and it's been pretty annoying. And also this year hasn't been good with COVID and everything, lockdown, so it hasn't helped either.
Yeah, you wonder if crowds were allowed in the Port game a few weeks ago, and the game tonight. If there was 40,000 people, Saints home game, we're all there to cheer. If it would make any difference. It's funny. We were at a hub last year and we blossomed. We were the best team in a hub. Our form went through the roof. But now it's the opposite. We're back at home, but there's no crowd.
Yeah,
and we've just turned to shit a little bit. Our form at Marvel is the worst. We don't know how to play at Marvel.
Yeah, could you also say though that a lot of Victorian teams play well at their home ground? Nearly half the AFL, nearly 3/4 of AFL had to move up to Queensland, and they're all playing at Tasmania, Northern Territory, Queensland. I feel we were an okay to really bad away side at that point, but I feel all the other teams were quite bad. Collingwood couldn't play away from home, Hawthorn were pretty bad, and all that. Richmond as well, and then I feel that kind of papered over a little bit, in my opinion. I kind of look back at it going we were decent about that. We had it pretty easy, to be honest. We didn't actually have to travel as much as a lot of other teams when we were in the hub. And but it was a good effort. It was a really enjoyable time. Everybody was up and about. But I feel it kind of papered over a little bit because we didn't have many injuries either.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get your best 22 on the field every week, right? And we had Patton there. We had Gresham. I mean, Gresham played the first 10, 11 games. He only played the first 2 or 3 games this year. Yeah. Geary was all right every now and then. Marshall, Paddy played a lot of the year. When you get injuries, and even Brisbane, when they lost Hipwood in our game, when we beat them, it took them basically three and a half games to really be able to accommodate that and learn
Yeah.
to adapt with that. And we get Marshall back, but then we lose Paddy. We get Higgins back, but we lose someone else. It's just
Yeah.
rotating chairs,
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, I don't know, but like Brad Hill was like, I at one point, like we nearly had like 3 players off of the field at once. Like you had Dukes going off, Clark, and then you had Brad Hill for that little period at the start of the half where he was had that little like niggle or whatever, but then he came back on. But I feel like our outside run, to be honest, was just too reliant on that sometimes. Like you have Sinclair was good. Like I really liked how we had Connolly doing that, but I feel like he was doing a lot of things right, but he wasn't like other people weren't really
They weren't with
on
him.
his like level, kind of. Like I remember one point, like he weaved about through 2 people in the center of the ground, and then Seb Ross turns his back on him and he's just like handballed it to him. And like Seb's been playing at the Saints for ages, like, and he's should be used to that from Brad and all that. I don't understand how our older players have to up their tone to our younger players. It's quite disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. That's the takeout. Some of these older heads that have been at our club for over 5-10 years, I don't know, they might have an expiry date. So we'll see what happens in the off season, because Seb could be one. But yeah, we'll hopefully we can bounce back next week. I know it won't make much of a difference with the ladder, but all us fans want some hope and some optimism. Are you optimistic about, last question, are you optimistic about 2022, despite tonight, despite this year?
Like, are we including like if we like get Ben King or something?
Just assume that the fixture's a bit better and we're not going to have the injuries like we did.
Yeah, well, granted last year we had our backline was pretty good, but I don't think Carlisle will be really like, people kind of say that like, oh, we need Carlisle sometimes to have the intercept mark or play on that really big defender. But next year he's like getting old. We need to look for a defender, in my opinion. They'll like have a gate. We have a pretty big hole. Like at the moment, like at the start of the year, we thought our backline was perfect. It was fine. Like our plays were good, but they just weren't good mentally and everything. But over the past couple of weeks, it's been pretty bad. Like teams just have to play tall against us, and we kind of just like go one step behind. Next year we need to fix that. Our midfield's fine. It's just Dunstan, if we can keep him or not, and how he's lost a bit of consistency the past couple of weeks as well. And especially his efficiency is horrible. Like you could argue against Richmond and that it was like 60% still. It wasn't amazing. It was just that he had a couple okay moments. Like he was really good though. But just a couple of things. Our forward line and like we've been talking about that extra forward. I feel like, I've heard other teams like Gold Coast and all that, like they're looking for an extra forward. I feel like if we get Ben King or, someone else, like Essendon got Peter Wright last year, I feel like that will fix something, like with that having to switch with Paddy and Rowe. Because I feel like Rowe, we're all like happy that Rowe and Paddy are doing well. But I remember last year we were all talking about how are they going to work out together. And like they're working out well, but like Paddy's getting old, and like if we're going to really have Rowe's full potential, he kind of needs to also get used to being by himself as well. Because I feel like that's what is going to have to be a big step for our team, like having that, not just that tap ruckman that delivers it all for you, and can also switch into the forward line. But we need to have 2 key forwards, I reckon. Like Membry's good, kick 3, but like he's tiny bit inconsistent as well, and he hasn't been marking everything like he used to, I don't feel like, either.
No, I agree with you. And most of his goals were, I guess, late as well. I think he kicked 2 in the last, maybe.
And like when
the game was done.
Yeah, when you did that preview with Blue Brawl, like how they said they have that like 10-15 minute patch, like where they're not good at all, like they're below average. That's when he like chipped in. I feel like that's when Max kicked his 4th as well. But we're just gonna kind of move on, reset, and kind of change. Like I feel like just our culture's good, but it's just like some players are just so used to something else. Like, are they used to the seasons before last year, and kind of like we had all that glory last year, making finals, like having a great off season and everything, and then now all of a sudden, like we were doing bad and everything, and then they're just their heads are down at the ground and everything. And I feel like those players before that, like we were bad, but we weren't that bad.
No, I've always believed that we've got some sort of
What happened? What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. My phone just cracked up.
No, it's all right.
I was as I was saying, yeah, I feel like we've got some sort of inferiority complex where
Yeah.
We just don't. When the going gets tough, we just give up. We just can't be bothered. So I think that's part of the culture that we've got. But we're on the right track. We've just got to. I think there's a few players still that bring that negativity. So we need to fix that. Yeah. Anyway, mate.
I could talk for like a few hours with you, but I think I'll finish it up because I've been talking for about like nearly 10-15 minutes.
Mate, all the comments coming through are loving you, so make sure you join fan cams more because a lot of people are really enjoying what you're saying, and I agree with you.
I went off a bit of my head a little bit. Like I was saying a couple of things, and I look like when you were speaking and I was listening, I was like, what did I say that? Like I was a bit confused.
Yeah, it's an added pressure when you're live, isn't it? And there's people watching, and you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't say that. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your night, mate, and your weekend, and hopefully we'll chat to you soon.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Jackie.
Bye. Well, that was bloody awesome. He's a great kid. He knows a lot of bloody footy. And you're right, a lot of people commenting. He could be the new leader of Saints TV. If I ever go on holiday, and right now I think I need one, I'm going to message Lockie and he's going to hop on. But we've got our final fan cam. Unless anyone else wants to join, I'm just going to put in the comments right now. There's a link. You can hop on. You can have a chat. It's up to you. Right now we've got another Jake lined up and he's going to hop on and have a chat. Mate.
G'day, Jakey. What's going on, mate?
I haven't heard that question tonight.
I'll tell you what, I'm livid.
Yeah.
I'm livid, mate. I'm upset, disappointed, gutted. Long-time Saints fan, long-time disappointed Saints fan, to tell you the truth. But I think, me personally, I think that we rely too heavily. When someone like Rowan Marsh, when Paddy Ryder's out of the team, we expect that Rowan Marshall is a tap ruckman. He's not. He's really not. He's good around the ground. He's got very good cardio. He's good in the forward line, but you get him in the middle of the ground and he's really good as a replacement against a second-tier ruckman. But as soon as you put him up in there, he's not going to tap it to your advantage at all. It's pretty simple. And when you've got two bulls inside, you've got Jack Steele and Dunstan running through the middle, and the only outside runner that you've got is Jonesy, and he's still trying to be an inside bull. You're not generating any outside run at all. You got Brad Hill, who's meant to be a winger, playing off halfback flank. What are you going to do? You're waiting for the ball to go back before you go forward.
Yeah, there's too many players trying to play too many roles, isn't there?
Yeah, and absolutely. And then you got Skunk. Skunk's too worried about when he's got to go back to try and fill the holes. You've got Max King being the only one that's leading up forward, and countless times tonight he's leading, and by the time we're looking up, he's already too close. You're not going to kick it to him when he's there, so you're kicking over his head. And when you kick it over his head, who have you got? You got Ben Long trying to take the mark in front of 6 other forwards.
Yeah. That doesn't work. You're not going to win games like that.
No, absolutely not. And that's where I think it's a mindset change as well for someone like Ben Long, who he's trying to fly to try and salvage the game for us. But at the same time, it's disappointing because he's meant to be the one that's staying on the ground, trying to get the ground balls, trying to make sure that he's being accountable for the defenders that are around him. But he's flying, and he's trying to take the mark out of other people's hands.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing...
So it's disappointing, but...
Yeah. Did you notice, even early on I noticed, but I'm curious if other Saints got onto it, the amount of free ball they got at any sort of centre bounce or around the ground stoppage, where they just had one or two Carlton players defensive side, and it was just always that quick handball, bang. There's a player on the outside, and he's just going to swoop around the pack and just kick it into the 50. And we never picked up on that.
But that's Saints footy this year. You get into a contest, and we've got 2 to 3 sweeping around the back of the contest. You got no one accountable for anyone on the other side. And we've got someone like Rowan Marshall. When Paddy Ryder's in the ruck, it's not an issue because he's hitting it to our advantage. But when you have Rowan Marshall in the ruck, who at the end of the day, he was a great forward when he came up, and we put him into the ruck because he had the height to validate that. But at the end of the day, he's not a tap ruckman, and he wasn't, and he was never a ruckman through juniors. He was a forward. So you put him into that, and you've got what, 3 of them sweeping around the back, 3 of us sweeping around our back. What's going to happen? He's not a tap ruckman. So he just gets up and he puts the ball where he's most convenient for him to put the ball. And at the end of the day, when you play against a team that's got someone like Paddy Cripps sweeping around the contest, they're going to get that quarterback play.
We could have done something to stop it though. And I was talking to Joycey during the game. We always message each other and stuff. And I was just saying, why isn't there someone? Where's this leadership of someone on the ground just saying that's clearly a problem? I'm going to go defensive side and block that. So if they get any possession, they've got nowhere to go. No one.
The problem
wanted to do that.
The problem is that we can do that, but are you willing to send Jack Steele to that? Because I'm not.
So we're
in that contest. I'm not willing. Because he's our best ball winner. He's our bull. He's the one that is generating most of our plays. And although he doesn't get all of the credit all of the time, he might have 25 touches in a game, but 15 of those touches are in close under, getting that handball out the back, getting the handball to someone who is in a better position than he is. And at the end of the day, I'm not willing to risk him going to tag someone to lose that, because no one replaces him doing that. Luke Dunstan, he's a jet, mate. Like, he is an absolute bull, and he will get in there and he will win the ball. But you can't have him there being accountable for someone at the same time as winning the footy.
Yeah. So what do we do? Do we need to get another mid in to do that? Do we need to mix it up selection-wise? Is there a player that should have played tonight, or players, do you reckon?
My opinion is get Connolly into the middle. I know it's early. I know it's premature, but he shows promise. He wants to take the game on. He wants to be influential in the game. So give him the shot. Like, what do you have to lose, especially over the last couple of weeks, the year? You got to get him in my opinion. Dan Kent's got to go. He is just, as much as hungry as he is for the footy, as much as he looks like he wants to win the game for the Saints, he doesn't have the skills to do so. And I think at the same time, as hard as it is to sort of say, I think Max King being the only forward hurts. So I think you got to bring Cooper in somewhere just to get him some running in his legs. At the end of the day, just before you started bringing the fans on and that, and you had the other fella from the Saints podcast on, he absolutely nailed it. He's absolutely nailed it in saying that this has put us out of our misery. I'm a diehard Saints fan, but at the end of the day, I couldn't have sat here for another 3 weeks waiting for us to lose to Freo in the last round, because at the end of the day, these are the games we lose.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to lose to Freo in round 23.
Yeah. Well,
so it's one of those things. It's going to be about going back to the drawing board, looking at our midfield. Seb Ross, as much as everyone always knocks him, he tries his ass off every week. Absolutely. His skills might not be the best in the comp, but he tries hard, and he tried hard tonight. Brad Crouch has been weak. Jack Steele, absolutely. You can't fault the fella. He's an absolute jet. The one thing that I will fault him on is you've got 8 tackles in the first quarter. How do you not at least get 20 for the game? You got 3 quarters to get on top of that, and we don't have the footy to play with. So what are you going to do? You got to defend. So that's another fault. Dunstan, ball use. At the end of the day, though, as an inside mid, it's never going to be perfect, but at least try to get it close to. The first quarter going at 0%, that's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot that we need to bring into the club necessarily. I don't think. I think Rats is the coach. He's the coach that can take us to a flag, in my opinion. We've come from Alan Richardson, who was as good as I thought he was personally when he was at the club. As soon as you get this outside voice of Rats come in and he comes and takes the reins, he's absolutely killed it. And in my opinion, we were nothing last year, and he took us to something. So we've got some pretty shitty injuries. Patton is a massive, massive inclusion.
He's
in my
huge.
opinion. He changes the whole structure of the way that we play football. Gresham, again, another one. He's an outside runner that plays in the midfield that can be a bull, but he prefers to play on the outside. Absolutely. You need to get him in for some creativity. As soon as we've got some fitness back in our legs, we're good to go. And if we don't have Paddy Ryder out for those first 4 weeks for mental health, and we don't have Rowan Marshall out for the following few weeks, then we're probably top 6, in my opinion, because when those two play together and they play full games together, we're unbeatable, in my opinion. You've got that diversity of a great tap ruckman, and then you've got a ruckman-sized forward playing forward that can mark the footy and kick a goal when his confidence is up. So we're not lost. I think that this year was a waste. I think that I'm very disappointed through the injuries that we had, through disappointment of players not performing to the extent that they probably should have. But at the end of the day, I'm not disappointed at all for the way this season has turned out, because it hasn't gone our way. And that's pretty simple. We've had a very bad draw also.
Yeah. Well, if you look at last year, it was a surprise year for us, and we were in a hard, different circumstances. We excelled. This year, injuries, harder fixture, COVID again, a lot of issues going on and off the field. We get to draft Connolly, Burns, Sharman, get some games. Bytel shows a bit, hasn't played for a while, but he's shown a bit when he has played. King's learning a bit more and putting bulk on and kicking goals. Yep. So there's a lot. I think this year's
Bytel is going to be in our best 22 eventually. But last year, I want to disagree with you on a point. Last year wasn't a surprise to me. Last year was where we deserved to be at, where I think that our talent sat. Yep. We got rid of Nunes, like a few players that we had, and Akers, a few players that we'd really depended on in the past. And we took the risk of, let's get these players out that we depend on in certain situations, and let's bring in some new talent. Obviously, we went hard at Brad Hill, got Brad Hill. We had some really, really good signings. I think that when we got Rats in, Rats had the mindset of Clarkson in, this is the here and now. Let's get players in that are ready to go, and let's win a flag, or let's at least start competing and turn the script on what we were. Because for the last 10 years, we've been absolute garbage. We've been the team that was laughed at by everyone else. And I don't want to be the team that's laughed at anymore. And I can assure you that Simon Leflane doesn't want to be either. Eric Bannon, number 1 ticket holder, he doesn't want to be laughed at anymore. Shane Warne, he doesn't want to be laughed at anymore. So you've got these people who are influential behind the club.
Yeah. Trolls. Shut them up. That's what we need to do.
That's exactly right. But we have the potential in our back pocket right now. We've got injuries, sure. Every team has injuries, though. You've got to have the ability to fill them. And we do, but the players that we bring in to fill those positions, they might play well. But when we have the expectation on us that we're going to succeed or we're going to exceed expectations, they fall behind.
Yeah.
And that's the disappointment. But at the end of the day, we have the ammunition. It's just about whether we've got the guns to fire it.
Yeah. Well, mate, appreciate you joining the fan cam. You brought some positivity, mate. You're making me feel a little bit better about the future, so that's good. Tonight's a tough night, but hopefully in another 6 to 10 months we can look back and be like, well, we can forget about that because we're back, get players back, get that form back, and then see what we can do in 2022. But I'll leave it on this. Just a question for you. Are we a chance next week? Are we a chance in the next 3 games, or have you lost all faith for this year, for the next 3 weeks?
Absolutely. We're a chance to win every game for the rest of the year. And in my opinion, we've been a chance to win every game for the whole season this year. but we haven't put what our best football is forward. So we're a chance to win the games. Do I think we deserve to play finals? Absolutely not. And would I like us to play finals? No. If we play finals, you go in, you slide in 8, you play someone like Port Adelaide in Adelaide. No, I don't want to watch that as a Saints fan. So I'd prefer we miss finals this year, as hard as that is to say as a fan. But at the end of the day, this needs to be used as the chance to say, listen, boys, everyone who is in our squad at the moment, have a look at them. Who is in our best 22, not necessarily by their reputation, but by form. And you say, you put your foot forward and you figure out whether you're worth having your name signed on a piece of paper next year. And if you're not, then you're not. If you don't want to play football like the Saints are supposed to play football, like we did in 2009 and 2010, then don't fucking sign the paper. It's pretty simple. Yeah. We were bred on grit and determination and defensive efforts and all those sorts of things. But for the last 10 years, it's been out the door. We showed glimpses of it last year, but at the end of the day, if you don't want to be there, you don't deserve to be there.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining, mate. Great chatting to you. Hope you have a good weekend. Forget about tonight, and we'll do it again next
mate.
week.
I'll have a ripper. I'll have an absolute ripper.
Good on you, Jake. Chat to you soon, mate.
See you, Jakey.
See ya. Appreciate everyone tuning in, and bloody hell, that was a bit hectic. I mean, what do we got here? Lockie says there's a few draftees who are projects but could be worked out to be stars. A lot of depth in this draft in terms of key defenders or midfielders will be the main targets. Look, I think the defense needs to be the first place we need to look. If we don't fix the defense, the rest of the team's not going to function. From tonight, you look at it, it really was the difference. You know, we've got Wilkie, we had Howard, and we forget, and no one's really talked about it, but we forget how good Nick Coffield was last year. He was almost an All-Australian. So I think it's really important that we get our best 22 back, we get our injuries sorted. I don't know why we suddenly keep stuffing these injuries up and players coming back and getting injured, but whether it's to do with the team that we've got dealing with them, I don't know, but it's just frustrating that we can't get our best team onto the field. So I think have we got one more? One more. It better be a bloody Sainer. Are you a Sainer, mate, or are you a Carlton supporter?
Big Sainer.
Thank God. What's going on?
Oh, no, pretty disappointed. Not a good night for a Saints supporter.
Nah. What did you make of it? What are you feeling?
All round, just all over the ground defensively. Like what we always say in defenders, we're pretty bad defending, but I say like our mids and our wingers just they like early in the year against like Essendon and Port Adelaide, they just tore us apart through the ground, and I think that happened tonight again.
Yeah,
just easy ball movement.
Do you think that the players came into this game wanting to make finals? Because from what I looked at,
yeah,
they didn't care, you know?
Like lackluster. They've got just against Brisbane and that we're just so energetic and like our pressure's so good, but then just some games we just drop off so much and just looks like we don't even care.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, mate, I mean,
1,000 times.
I don't know. It was just so expected. Like, I haven't really given my thoughts because I've been getting the fans on a bit more now. I'm trying to get fans to voice their views before mine. But my views was, I just knew that this was going to happen. I knew that Carlton were under the heat all week. The media was going at them, talking about sack and tea, dropping players. Mark Murphy was the medical sub, all that stuff. And I was like, of course it's against St Kilda on a Friday night when everyone's watching that we're going to bottle it. We're going to make them look good. And, I mean, we made them look good, but they also played better. But I think it was just with the freedom that we allowed them, you know. Everywhere I looked, they were first to the ball. They were 2 meters ahead of the Saints player. So
whenever we have the chance to like take something, like get a good win, we just always stuff it up. Like when we're on the big stage, like I went to a game, like the Richmond game in round 4, whatever it was, just embarrassing, just lackluster.
Oh, this year was it?
Yeah,
Oh.
86 points, whatever.
Yeah, that was ugly, wasn't it?
It was a tough train trip home.
Yeah. Well, this is close to the worst loss of the year. I can't remember. I reckon I've said that about 10 times this year, but this would be up there just because of what it meant. Like, we would have been 8th. We would have been in the 8 right now.
I know. 4 big ins as well. We were expecting a lot from this game, and then just nothing.
Nothing, mate.
Yeah.
What would your strategy be for the rest of the year? Would you play to win? Would you mix it up and put players in different positions and bring kids in, or what would you do?
Give Jack Bytel a bit of a go. We've just like medical sub a few times. You're just not getting a good run. But I think Leo Connolly was real good tonight with like he had great composure and just like he had that like Scott Penderbury, you know, he can just do what he wants. But yeah, when he gets a few more games into him, he'd be like butter up a little bit. Like he was like maneuvering around a couple of plays and then he like butchered a bit of a kick, but then that'll come with time. So
yeah, and I haven't asked anyone about him, this particular player tonight. But what did you think of Brad Hill? At least in the first half, when
I didn't see much of him.
Yeah,
they were in like our players were just I know they want to give it to him, but they were just giving it to him in like bad positions. Like I think Brad Crouch was at the half back and Brad Hill just like, running like towards the what's it called, like the goals. He just handball and had nowhere to go and then just kick one down the line. I think got intercept marked. So it's just they have no smarts. They were like say Kent had the ball and Brad Crouch would run past and they wouldn't think, they just handball and he had someone straight in his tail and they get tackled and then it's a turnover. It's just hard to watch. On the TV. But,
I think we just sometimes I think I know a lot of people commented on my page at halftime, but we just overthink everything. Like it needs to be perfect football. It needs to go to that guy, to go to that guy, to go to that guy, and we don't know how to play. Not ugly football, but just efficient football, like Richmond. You know, Richmond at their best, and that's the style I thought we were trying to go for with Ratton.
Yeah, I remember last year in like the late finals, we would like get in deep in our little small forwards to do the job. But like this year, like it's always Butler last year had like was putting on goals, but now you just don't see him. And Higgins wasn't great tonight. Kent just makes me angry.
Well, would you rather Loney than Kent?
Loney's not much better, but yeah, I don't know. Kent just can't kick a set shot. It just whenever I see him with the ball, I just get angry. I'm like, just why would you kick it to him? Just look for someone else.
Yeah, you might as well just play another mid. You know, rotate another mid. Cleverino could have played.
Like he doesn't bring anything. Like I remember watching, I think it was Port Adelaide or West Coast. I don't know which game it was, but he was in the far right pocket and he could have. I think Max King was at the top of the goal square, but he had no right foot and he just turned around, then he stuffed it up. I was like, if you're gonna play AFL, you have to be able to kick on both your feet. So he's not up to the standard, I reckon.
Would you go back to the draft this off season, or would you have a look around for trading players out, like Billings, for instance? Would you look at trying to get compensation for JB, or do you think he's still got a future with us?
Like everyone at the Saints, they always, I think they overrate him a little bit. Like he's good, but what you like the number 3 draft pick, you would like expect a little bit better than what he brings. Like he kind of like stuffs a few kicks up. Like today, he had it on the wing and he just shanks it, and I'm just thinking, I don't know, but I think we get rid of him and we look to the draft to maybe like a Josh Gibcus, who's I don't think he's expected. He's a good centre half back or something like that. Just bring some youth in, a young backman, I think, to go through the years. Yeah,
well, everyone's worried about when Paddy retires, and we've got Max Heath who hasn't played yet. So we've got the ruck stocks probably set, you know?
Rory Lobb, I don't know about Rory Lobb, but he could be a good in. How old is he, like 28 or something?
He's 28, and funny you mention him because I saw the news about him like potentially leaving, was it Freo?
Yeah,
Freo. at the end of the year, and I mentioned it to Marshy and Joycey, and they were pretty positive about it. So if I had a chance, I reckon you'd have him for a good 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and he's not bad down forward as well. He's a good mark, and Bravado, he's just getting too old now. He's what 32, isn't he? So we need to bring.
He's done his best for us, hasn't he?
Yeah, he just never disappoints. Like I feel like whenever I watch him, he just never has a bad game. Along with Marshall as well.
If Paddy played tonight, would we have won? I'll leave it on that. That's my last question. If Paddy and Rowe played together, would we have won this game?
I feel like it would have been a lot closer using Paddy in the ruck and then Rowe down forward. Like it gives an extra, leaves a bit of pressure off King down there in like the later stage of the game. So I'll say yes. Yeah, we would have won.
All right. Well, that doesn't make me feel any better, but
okay, we would have lost if Paddy played. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, the same result. I'll take that. Yeah. All right, mate. Well, I'll let you go. The game is what it is. We played shit. Carlton brought the heat and we cracked, and and that's Saints footy at the moment, isn't it? Up and down, up and down. So
it's hard.
Yeah,
hard work.
It's hard work, especially chatting to Sainers that are disappointed just like me. So
it's going to be a tough Monday back at school.
Yeah, mate. Well, I went to school in Geelong in 09 and 10 period when Geelong beat us. So imagine going to school in Geelong with all the catters around. That wasn't easy.
A good Monday after that Saints win at Etihad that time.
Yeah.
That would have been good feedback today.
Yeah, that was the highlight of that time. But thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for the chat.
Thanks for having me.
Chat to you soon. No worries,
Thanks,
mate.
mate.
Take care. See ya. All right. Well, I reckon that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I mean, how much can you really enjoy, after that performance? I haven't really given my thoughts on it, but, just to really think about it, I just don't know where we go from here, This was an important game for us. This was a game that needed to only result in a win, regardless of how Carlton played or whether they got Kerno back, Mackay back. It was irrelevant. We needed to win this game to have a chance to continue this season. And in the end, we blew it. And none of us should be surprised. I think we're more angry because it's happened too many times this year. And injuries or not, we got players back. And usually I can fall back and say, we're missing players. We tried our best, blah, blah, blah. But, tonight we had no excuse and we blew a chance to keep our season alive. So I'm really, really disappointed. I know a lot of Sainers are. I know a bunch of Sainers that came on for a chat are as well, apart from that bloody Carlton fan and Kev, who was a good sport and popped on for a chat. But if any Sainters in the future want to come on, that'd be great. If you want to come on for a chat, that'd be really good too. I will post the link on Instagram and on Facebook before every fan cam, and we can hop on and have a chat and dissect the loss, because I don't know how everyone else feels, but it makes it a lot easier to process a loss when you get to share it with fellow Sainers. So I appreciate everyone staying up late and watching for an hour and 20 minutes. This will be up on YouTube to replay whenever you want. And the podcast will be out Tuesday night. Preview, obviously, Thursday nights for the Sydney game. So until then, guys, enjoy your weekend. If you can, ignore the papers and the media and don't read anything or watch the replay about this game. And I'll try and find some way to bring some highlights to the weekend that don't involve talking about the loss. So take care, guys. I appreciate all of your comments and your support as always. And I'll chat to you soon. Thanks, guys. Go Sainers.